Make them up as they go along. Don't we all?
You see, this is what democracy.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, we said in our press release that this would be a brief statement. Let's just call it a statement. I think it's about 8 minutes. So, hello, I'm Susie Beiersdorfer, a member of Frackfree Mahoning Valley, surrounded by members of Frackfree Mahoning Valley. Thank you for attending. We're here today to talk about why the Youngstown Community Bill of Rights is crucial for the public health and safety and future of Youngstown and Mahoning Valley. Please note that over 5,000 Youngstown voters voted yes in favor of the Community Bill of Rights last November. That is a large number of voters. Over 1,800 registered voters signed our petition to put our Community Bill of Rights question on the November ballot. There is significant support for this ballot question. This photo shows why we are trying to pass the Community Bill of Rights for the 5th time. We are here out of concern for protecting the public health, safety, welfare, and fairness for all communities and our children, grandchildren, and their grandchildren. We're here to protect Youngstown's safe drinking water, air, and land, to protect our private property rights and values and the democratic process that is currently threatened by unfair laws and practices related to the powerful oil and gas industry and its many lobbyists. This photo is emblematic of problems here in our local community, our state and other states. It shows a children's play set sited on the property of a Vienna, Ohio farm land with a drilling rig right next to it, drilling a toxic injection well. This family was not notified. This family had no say. It is practically in their backyard, and this is happening right now as we speak. This is dangerous. This is a violation of civil rights and civil liberties. This is not safe. This is not progress. This is not prosperity. This is wrong. Practices like this threaten our American way of life and our quality of life. We're here to continue telling the truth about threats to our democracy, particularly fracking waste injection wells, fracking, and related processes and infrastructure, including man-made earthquakes. And the truth is not pretty. Also, we find it ironic that a member of the Board of Elections suggests that somehow the citizens are doing something wrong in getting this on the ballot again. We are simply following the rule of law and exercising our right to petition our government. And the Ohio Supreme Court agreed that the question should be on the ballot. We thank Youngstown City for its statesmanship in upholding all citizens' constitutional right to vote and to petition our government as described in the First Amendment. The Mahoning County Board of Elections, David Beatrice, Mark Monroe, Tracy Winbush, and Robert Wasco, was found by the Ohio Supreme Court to have acted illegally in refusing to certify the ballot question. I quote from the Ohio Supreme Court Youngstown decision, page 4, paragraph 12. The record plainly demonstrates that the board rejected ordinance number 15-283 solely because it considered the measure to be unconstitutional in its effects. In making that determination, the board exceeded its statutory authority and therefore abused its discretion. The BOE refused to certify the Community Bill of Rights question despite being urged by 3 taxpayer-funded lawyers to certify it on the ballot. That is the mayor, the county prosecutor, and the city law director, who are all attorneys. We find it astonishing that instead of apologizing to the voters and taxpayers of Youngstown and Mahoning County, BOE member Mark Monroe tries to suggest that we citizens who are following the law are somehow doing something wrong. We are following the rule of law and exercising our rights as citizens of the United States to protect this city that we love. The Board of Elections at least owes an apology for almost illegally depriving Youngstown voters of their sacred right to vote and petition their government. But judging from a couple of BOE members' statements in the press, they appear to be still defiant. In fact, the right thing to do would be for each Board of Elections board member, personally to reimburse the $30,000 that the BOE used to hire an outside law firm when they decided to go rogue and defy the advice of their own lawyer, County Prosecutor Paul Gaines, as well as two other lawyers, the mayor and the city law director. The right and fair thing to do would be for each to pay $7,500 back to the Mahoning County Treasury. The Mahoning County taxpayers should not have to pay $30,000 for the Board of Elections' very big mistake. And we are not lawyers, but we believe that the Board of Elections and others continue to publicly misinterpret the Ohio Supreme Court case out of Monroe Falls, a plurality decision, to justify their continued opposition of placing the Community Bill of Rights Charter Amendment on the ballot. They are wrong. Which brings us to the question of why we are again here trying to get this passed for the 5th time. Let's again put this into perspective. There were over 5,000 voters who voted yes for the Community Bill of Rights in the past. There is support in the community for this. Again, both of these photographs of what has happened and is happening in nearby Vienna, Ohio, tells us all why we must vote yes. Why is the oil and gas industry spending millions of dollars to try to trick people in believing that this is safe? It is not safe. It is a present and future danger to public health, safety, and welfare, to our sacred democratic process, our property values, and the livability of our communities. Unlike the shale development industry, we, as a concerned citizens group, do not have the capability to write a check for $1 million to flood the airwaves with advertisements. Furthermore, why are industry and others trying to trick citizens into believing that fracking has been done safely for 65 years? This kind of unconventional fracking is only about 10 years old. They and their advertisements are not telling the public about that very important distinction. Why? We believe it is because they want to make money. It's that simple. The quest for money and profits at any cost is what we believe motivates too many of our opponents. This is wrong. This puts communities and families in harm's way, and it must stop. State agencies and some officials too often listen to the moneyed corporations and oil and gas lobbyists rather than to everyday citizens who are suffering due to pollution, questionable practices, and misinformation given by oil and gas. You'll hear their ads again that will flood the local airwaves. If we had their budget, we would have had this Community Bill of Rights law passed by now. The truth is that fracking cannot be done safely or even fairly with the technology as it stands today. This is why we have to work extra hard to get vital information out to the public. This is why it is taking us time to get the truth out, but we intend to continue to do so. Yes, even if it means we must come back for the 5th time. The truth is constantly showing itself in ways that cannot be hidden from public awareness, despite industry's hopes that it can keep the realities and dangers of fracking out of public view. The truth is all around you. The situation is getting worse. These Vienna wells, the Vienna well fiasco over on this side happened months before, just a few months before this well was permitted to drill. Also, many people in the Youngstown area got letters, 50,000 or so, got notices of trihalomethanes in their drinking water. The public needs to know what is the exact source of the problem so we can understand how to stop it in the future. We have 4 fracking wells in the protected watershed area of Meander Reservoir, our source of drinking water. This is an amazingly bad idea. We now have induced seismicity in the area as well. That is man-made earthquakes at the Youngstown site, at the Poland site, and up in Wethersfield, Niles. We actually just recently learned that there have been 108 earthquakes up in the Wethersfield, Niles, although there were just 2 reported on the state's website. There's not enough transparency, and that is unacceptable. There's flaring going on out in Wethersfield, Niles Township, and just over the border in Pulaski, PA, where a family had a well located directly across the road from them. This is wrong. We have a document, an inspection report on the KDA wells that reveals truth about the injection well. The EPA recently gave the Ohio Department of Natural Resources a passing report on its injection well program. We disagree with EPA's assessment. The document we have for you today is an inspection report showing inspections for an injection well from about 2011 to 2014. It showed a failed mechanical integrity test. It also shows they were operating at too high of pressures, which led to a violation. Did ODNR inform the media and the public about these events? Apparently not. We do not consider this a job well done, especially in light of the fact of the terrible spill of 2015 that happened after these violations. ODNR did not prevent that event. With this new well in Vienna, can we expect more injection well related earthquakes? We could go on, but we won't. There is a long and growing list of accidents, earthquakes, spills, pollution, and unfairness related to shale development. Some high-profile people who oppose passing the Community Bill of Rights are trying to vilify, insult, or question the motives of everyday citizens who are merely trying to protect their drinking water, their families and communities, and expose the truth about the dangers of fracking, injection wells, and related processes and infrastructure. We believe that some in the oil and gas industry and some of their allies are trying to use their might, their money, or their influence to overwhelm the voices of the people. It is not an even playing field, but this will not deter us from speaking the truth. We love Youngstown and our neighborhoods. We want to see the city thrive, and it can, but it cannot if we continue to allow this in our communities. We are following the law to help our cities prosper and thrive. We will continue to get our message out in the best way that we can. We will never give up on protecting our families and children, our community, and the public health, safety, and welfare. This is why we are asking you to vote yes on November 3rd to protect Youngstown and your family's safe drinking water. Thank you very much.